सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सात्वैदं स्वावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते सप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री धारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna. Mataji, your microphone is off.
Hare Krishna Mata Prabhuji. Danvat Pranam. Sorry about that. Prabhuji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is prayers by Queen Kunti. And Prabhuji, today we are on text 11.
Okay. Thank you. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyeta Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seveya Bhagavate Samshloke Bhakti Bhaktina Ishtiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So before we go to the verse, we should know the scene. The scene is that Krishna is already seated on the chariot, about to leave for Dwarka. And Mother Kunti is very much seeing Krishna. She very well knows this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Though he is my relative, but actually he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So at that time, the wife of Abhimanyu's wife, means the widow, came running to Krishna, asking for help. Some verses back, we find that just verse number 9, it says, Pahi Pahi Mahayogi Deva Deva Jagatpate. She is addressing Krishna, O Lord of all lords, Lord of the universe. You are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me. For there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. In the text 10, it says, she said, Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally if you so desire. Please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. So, Sutta Goswami is explaining in this verse for today, 11. He said, having patiently heard her words, Lord Shri Krishna, who was always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last lifeline in the Pandav family. Mother, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Lord is impartial in every respect, but still he is inclined towards his devotees because there is a great necessity of this for everyone's well-being. The Pandava family was a family of devotees, and therefore the Lord wanted them to rule the world. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhana and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Therefore, he also wanted to protect Maharaj Parikshit, who was lying in embryo. He did not like the idea that the world should be without the Pandavas, the ideal family of devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in this verse, Srila Prabhupada explains at least 5 points. Lord is impartial to everyone. He loves everyone. But in every respect, Lord is impartial in every respect, but especially inclined towards his devotees. If you go to Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9, there's a verse, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dvashti asti na priya ye bhajantu mam bhaktya mai teteshu chapyaham. The translation is, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, and I am also a friend to him. So it's a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, which makes this point very, very clear. That is very, very dear. I mean, he is equal to everyone, but he specially takes care of his children. The devotees means Krishna's children. Srila Prabhupada also explains. A father may be a father also some children, and there may be other children also, but generally or naturally his affection is more towards his own children. In the similar way, in this verse, it makes it very clear that Krishna is, the devotees are very dear to Krishna, and Krishna becomes also very dear to the devotees because of this relationship. So you'll find in our devotional service, we ought to have some relationship. Just faith is not enough. Faith is the beginning. Faith also remains a foundation. But as the bhakti grows up more and more, becomes more and more intense, then you find that we need to have a very strong relationship. It's a kind of a bond. And if you keep up this bond, we'll never go wrong in our devotional service. There may be slight deviation, or you may feel slightly weak. It's due to the weakness of mind, but not otherwise. Having accepted Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna will take care. Elsewhere also in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that go declare boldly to Arjuna that my devotee never perishes. Name bhaktya pranashati. It means my devotee is never vanquished or never destroyed. Having come to Krishna, nobody goes, we can say, with a broken heart. Krishna will fulfill the desires of everyone. It's also guaranteed in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. I think it's verse number 10. Krishna tells, while explaining the value of yajna or sacrifice, Krishna explained to Arjuna that from the very beginning of creation, Krishna taught the demigods and also human beings to engage in yajna, which means sacrifice, which will keep them happy, fulfill all their desires, and they will return back home, back to me. So by performing our daily yajna, there are 3 benefits. If I can ask, what is the yajna for Kali Yuga? So would somebody like to answer? What is the yajna or sacrifice for Kali Yuga? Anybody likes to answer?
Chanting.
Chanting the holy name of Krishna. In the age of Kali Yuga, there is no other Dharma. In the age of Kali Yuga, no other Dharma is going to be beneficial. People may think I'll do a lot of penances, I'll do a lot of meditation, tapa, dhyana, dana, charity, whatever you do, but nothing will give you so much 100% guarantee or benefit as much as Sankirtan. Because the Dharma for Kali Yuga, or the sacrifice for the Kali Yuga, is chanting the holy names. Krite Dhyayato Vishnu. In the age of Krita Yuga or Sat Yuga, the yajna was meditation. The age which followed after that was Homa. Homa means yajna, offering into fire, grains, and chanting the mantras. They were powerful brahmanas. And the age which followed that was Dwapar Yuga, in which the form of sacrifice was deity worship. Now, in the age of Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. So Kali Yuga is very much dependent. All of us are dependent on how many names we chant. Often the question is brought about by many devotees, especially in our ISKCON. They say, oh, I'm chanting, but I'm not enjoying. But when you're chanting, that is chanting. Whether you enjoy or not, whether you like to chant, or whether you are focused on chanting, that doesn't matter. Provided you've done your daily business of chanting the holy names, that is acceptable and proven in Srimad Bhagavatam. So the yajna for Kali Yuga is chanting the holy name of the Lord. So we find that as soon as you start chanting, it means you have a bond with Krishna. And as the day by day increases, the bond becomes stronger and stronger. So much stronger that someday in your life, you find that you understand that I have some relation, because Krishna will actually reciprocate. There's an exchange of love between a devotee and Krishna, provided you become a devotee. So if you have a relationship, and it means you're already a devotee, just like we find here, just 2 verses back, Putra coming to Krishna. Pahi, Pahi, Mahayogi. Please help me, please help me. It means she knew Krishna. It's not that she just came running to Krishna. She knew very well, this is Krishna. And the Acharyas said that it's not just Krishna who was there, even the Pandavas were there. And each Pandava was very powerful. Why did she not go to the Pandavas? She went to Krishna. This was the only reason. She knew that Krishna can manage this. In the matter of second, in the split of second, Krishna can protect her. So we find that in all difficulties and in all our happiness, we should always come to Krishna. Many guarantees are given in the Shastra, including Ramayana. In the Ramayana, it says, Sakra Deva Prabhano, Yava Ashmita Yachate. In that verse, it says, Lord Ramachandra is saying, if someone comes to me, surrenders to me and tells Ramachandra that I am yours, then from that day onwards, or from that moment onwards, I am his, and I'll protect him and also protect his vow. That means we have to take a vow one day. Like in our ISKCON, we take a vow on the day of initiation, at least to Harinam. The first initiation is called Harinam Diksha. On that day, we surrender to the holy name, and there is a yajna, fire sacrifice, in which the person who is initiating you, the devotees are all around, and taking them all as a witness, including Krishna, we are actually taking the holy name. From today onwards, I'm going to chant the holy name. So that's called Sambandha. Sambandha means relationship. And as you tie up a relationship, then Krishna is bound to protect you. There's no doubt. You can ask any devotee who is chanting, at least for a considerable number of years, has Krishna protected you or not? And I'm sure the answer is yes. We may not realize, but actually we are protected at every step. At every step, Krishna protects us. Prahlad Maharaj explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, who really protects you? Is it your parents? Prahlad Maharaj says, no, not even the parents protect you. Simple example is, let's say you have a child who's just started going to the school. All you can do is take your child to the gate or maybe to the classroom on the first few days. After that, you cannot even enter the school. You drop your child, you come out. Who takes care of your child for the rest of the day? It is Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj explains further. Even the best aushadhi means medicine, will not work on you if it is not the will of Krishna. And even a boat, which is maybe even the best, there's no guarantee it's not going to sink. It is still going to sink. But if Krishna wants to protect the boat, he will protect the boat. If Krishna wants to cure you, he will cure you. So at every step, whenever we need protection, always come to protection, always come to Krishna. So I have a simple question to ask you. In our ISKCON, after every session, we sing Nashinga prayers. Do you know what is the reason? Anybody knows? Anybody likes to try?
Prabhuji, yesterday we discussed this. I think Prabhuji said that it is to protect the ISKCON, it's to protect ISKCON and to protect our spiritual master.
Actually, it's meant to protect your devotional service, our personal devotional service. Because even when we chanting Nashinga, we have a relationship with him. We know Nashinga is also Krishna, but it's assumed and accepted another form, which is solely meant to protect his devotee. So Nashinga Dev protects us. So after every session, even when you at night also, you should remember Lord Nashinga Dev, read Bhagavad Gita, and go to sleep. Because he's the one who is protecting us at every step. So to ask for protection is our own right. Provided we are his devotees. He protects even non-devotees. What to talk of devotees? He knows if this person is good enough, he's going to protect him. Already Krishna says that, Paritnaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushitam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavani yuge yuge. I come to protect the pious. I come to punish the impious, and I reestablish the religious principles. That means he's always protecting our religious principles, our dharma. And as far as the dharma is strong, and as far as you abide by the dharma and don't deviate from the dharma, Krishna will always protect you. This is the greatest quality which was there in the Pandavas. If you read Mahabharata very, very briefly, how does it start? You find that when the Pandavas take birth, at that time the Kauravas the Kauravas were not yet born. And we find that Gandhari, when she heard that now Kunti has got 5 sons, she became very envious. And she hit her stomach, the womb, and a big lump of flesh came out, which was meant to be thrown away. She didn't want it. She was so angry. But there was a Brahmin, very good, he said, don't do that. He cut the flesh into 100 pieces and he put them in the pots. And after a few months, the Kauravas took birth, one after another. The very first one to take birth was Duryodhana. And upon taking birth, he was wailing like a donkey. You know how a donkey, sorry, not wailing, he was braying like a donkey. And Vidura heard the sound, though he was very far. And he rushed to Dhritarashtra. This first son, the very omens is saying are not good, kill him. When the sky became dark, the wolves were crying, were shouting. That is the birth of Duryodhana. And Mahabharata says Duryodhana is a partial incarnation of Kali Yuga. That means already Kali Yuga ended at the time of Kaurava's birth. The symptom was found in Duryodhana. He's the main evil person in the Mahabharata, joined by other 3, Dusashan, Shakuni, and by his company also, Karna became evil. So this is how the whole set of Mahabharata, how it starts. One is Pandavas, the other is the Kauravas. So the whole game is between these 4 versus 100. Like in Bhagavad Gita, we hear 4 people who surrender to Krishna, 4 kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna. So those who don't surrender, they are atheists. Those who surrender are theists. And if you study Mahabharata with a good logic, you'll find how Krishna protected always the Pandavas. And they suffered the most. You find that those who become Krishna conscious or even religious, they suffer a lot. Because it is through them the Dharma is taught. Prabhupada explains in one lecture that if a newlywed wife comes in home, the mother-in-law will not chastise her in case she does some mistake or to teach her something. Rather, she chastise her own daughter and chastise her, trying to tell the newly wedded wife. It's like not telling directly, but indirectly. So by indirectly, Krishna is teaching us by giving difficulty to devotees, how my children suffered. So you should be ready to suffer also, but for your own purification. Devotees don't have problems. Devotees know that if there are problems, Krishna will always be there. But the non-devotees neither believe in Krishna, so there's no question of saying that Krishna will be there. I remember one incident many, many years ago, way back in 80s, that I was not staying near the temple. We used to stay far from the temple, but I was still coming for service at the temple. One day early in the morning, I just come from the temple, deity worship, and I heard some screaming of a child in a flat below us. So I ran there. What's the problem? The child had actually got burned with hot water. Maybe he opened the hot water full, and whole of his lower part was red, would see even the flesh, and the child was only 8 years old. So I took the child, and the mother also came with me, and the father, because it was very close to the Ampisha hospital, and then the treatment was done. On that day evening, that lady came, the mother of the child. Well, the child was not all that burned, but if the treatment was less, it would have spoiled his skin. And the mother asked, that, what gives you so much courage to take the child, even without asking us? You took him straight to the hospital. I said, that's my duty. So we find that Krishna actually helps others, even through the devotees. For example, how much has Prabhupada helped us? Ask yourself a question. What are you today? How much devotion you have today because of him? You realize actually we are fully obliged to him. From him, we learn all good things. Everything he is teaching, not just good, we can say super good. So good things which no one can tell you. Even your own father cannot teach you this. What Srila Prabhupada is teaching you. Something beyond. So as we read Prabhupada's books, and if you follow Prabhupada's teachings, you'll find that at every step, we'll thank Prabhupada that he came and he stood for us, and he is still standing for us. And this is the, the mercy of a Vaishnava. Without the mercy of Vaishnava, one cannot become Krishna conscious. I think I had explained to you this verse which appears in the 7th chapter. The verse is, Yeshantu atam antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te danda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavita. So he says, those who acted piously in the previous life, who are acting piously in this life, whose sinful reactions have been burnt up, only they can engage in devotional service with determination. So this is one of the verses which teaches you determination. That you engage in devotional service, stay away from sinful activities, refrain completely, then your determination will increase. Stop committing offenses. Sin and offense is very much close. When you're not initiated, it's called a sin. Once you engage in devotional service, you call it an offense. Don't offend others. Don't offend other devotees. Don't commit offenses in your service. Don't commit offense in a place of pilgrimage, in other words, the temple. And do not commit offense to the places of pilgrimage, towards the people of places. At least 4 aparadhas we stay away from them. And even in your daily service, try to think yourself that actually I'm very fallen. Then I have a tendency to commit mistakes because my mind is still dirty. So in this way, if you remain humble and always consider yourself to be insignificant, in other words, very meek, Krishna will always protect you. but you have to ask for protection. Naturally, he's going to protect you. But when you ask, it becomes our birthright to ask for protection. And Krishna will protect. So here Sri Prabhupada says that why Krishna protects his devotees, there is a great necessity, Prabhupada explains in the purport, for that protection, so that everyone understands the magnanimity of Krishna. Krishna has a very big heart, and he wants everyone to take mercy from him, not just his children, not just his devotees, but he also extends to others. So he exemplifies how his devotees are protected at every step, at every danger. That's why later on, we'll come across the famous prayer in this very chapter. Vipra Shantu Tat Sata Tat Tat, something like that. The prayer by Queen Kunti, let these calamities come again and again, so that we see you again and again. And by seeing you, our cycles of birth and death become lesser. Beautiful prayer. So anyway, for the time being, Sri Prabhupada says that why Krishna is protecting Parikshit? Because it was necessary. Why? Because he was the only person remaining in the lineage of Pandavas. Everyone had died. Pandavas' children had died. So who is going to father more children? No one. But Abhimanyu, luckily, his wife was pregnant. And that even Ashwatthama wanted to kill him. Earlier we read in the previous chapter how he misbehaved. At that time, he was brought in front of Draupadi, and Draupadi is a devotee. She says, let him go. And we heard the conversation, how Bhima and Krishna wanted him to be killed, and others did not want him to be killed, being the son of Dronacharya. So he let go. He was let go, he was freed. Again, he did a mischief, and he set free another Brahmastra to destroy the only sign of the Pandavas. So Krishna has to protect him. So if you hear this incident, you get a lot of faith how Krishna protects Parikshit. And there was a need, which Prabhupada explains in detail, that it was Krishna's wish that Yudhishthira Maharaj rule the world. Who can be more better than him? If you read the first verse of Bhagavad Gita, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra, in the purport, I think in the last paragraph, Sri Prabhupada explains that Krishna came and did the work of a gardener. He came to remove the weeds like Duryodhana, Dusashan, Shakuni, Karna, and so on. And he wanted new plants to grow in the garden, which was headed by the Pandavas, Yudhishthira. And he wanted Yudhishthira to become the king. So the whole Mahabharata battle was to remove the weeds like Duryodhana and plant new plants like Yudhishthira. And he wanted Yudhishthira to be the king. He didn't want Duryodhana to be king. After all, Krishna is a well-wisher of everyone. And Krishna also wanted to protect Parikshit, for he was the only one here of the Pandavas left in the womb of Uttara. So many of you may not be knowing that there are two opinions when Parikshit took birth, that he was born dead. His body was burnt, blackish, and Krishna touched it, it became alive. Another opinion of the Acharyas is that Krishna protected him. So when he took birth, he was not dead, he was alive. So both the opinions are acceptable. That Parikshit was born alive. Now, who protected Pandavas? Who protected Parikshit is Krishna. That's why he has a specific name. Does anybody know what is his name? Another name of Maharaj Parikshit. Because Krishna protected him. It is related to Krishna. Anybody knows the name? Okay, his name is Vishnu Ratha. Vishnu Ratha. It means Lord Vishnu protected him. So this is the greatness of the Pandavas, that how the Pandavas were protected at every step. And even Krishna protected their child. If you go to Bhagavatam, even Chaitanya Chapter, Krishna likes his devotees. He loves his devotees. Not just devotees, his children, his children's children, his relatives, his animal, the animals which belong to the, the devotees. Krishna will protect all of them. And as you read, our faith increases and we ask for the protection, not for ourselves. Ourselves, we know we will be protected. But Krishna will also protect your children, your family, and even others. Even they may not be devotees, that doesn't matter. Like the promise given to Prahlad Maharaj. When Prahlad Maharaj asked that my father be excused, he said, why are you worried? Your father will be excused. Not only that, your 14 generations who have gone already, who may have become ancestors, will be freed. They'll go to Vaikuntha. And the 14 generations to come will also go to Vaikuntha. So the Prahlad's son, Virochan, became a devotee. Virochan's son, Bali Maharaj, also became a devotee. In this way, though they are not meant to become devotees, because all they are demons, born in Asura families, yet they became devotees because of the mercy of Krishna. So if one has attained this human form of life, we should utilize in such a way that become completely dedicated to Krishna, achieve the love of Krishna, so that not for our own good, but for the good of the generations to come, it will help them so much. You can never know that there is a danger at any step. There's a verse, it says, Pade Pade Vipadam Prabhupada uses this verse many times, that at every step there is a danger. So we need protection. And more we ask for protection, we become closer for Krishna. There's nothing wrong in asking. Just like, let's say you're working for someone, and if you are in some problem, would you not ask the boss, please help me? What is wrong? It is your right, because you are working for that person. So the devotees are working for Krishna. It is their right to ask for protection. Generally, pure devotees would ask, but Krishna will still protect all his devotees. So that's the main theme of this purport. How the Pandavas, it says this, the Pandava family was a family of devotees. Therefore, the Lord wanted them to rule. That was the reason he vanquished the rule of the company of Duryodhana and established the rule of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He did not want Duryodhana and company to rule, which they wanted to. By force they tried. He wanted the devotees to rule. So without being devotees, Krishna is not happy. But Krishna, on the other hand, is extremely happy, not just to see his devotee, but also ready to work with the devotees. I'll give you one more example from Mahabharata. You'll be shocked. Sorry. You'll find that there's a time in Mahabharata that there came a time, there were complaints again and again, how the Kauravas were troubling Pandavas. So when this matter was brought to Bhishma, it was discussed in the Sabha, in the court. He said, why don't you divide the kingdom? Give one kingdom to, one part of kingdom to Pandavas, one to the Kauravas. And then they agreed. Now Duryodhana is very clever. He says, okay, we'll give them only one land where they can rule, but they have to build their own empire. And they were given a land which was a desert. And as the Pandavas went to the desert, Yudhishthira Maharaj was in tears. He says, now, what do we do in a barren land? You may not be knowing, in the Vedas it's written, in a barren land, you cannot perform even a yajna, because to perform a yajna, you need a cow. From cow, you get 3 items. The milk, you get ghee, and you get urine. And yogurt. All this you get from 3 things which are used in the yajna. All these things are used in the yajna. Now, you don't expect yourself to find cows in the desert. So what kind of yajna you will do? Yudhishthira Maharaj said. Now, at that time, it was not just Krishna, it was also Balaram together. So, first advice of Krishna is that don't feel bad, don't feel yourself negative like this. The land has been given to you, use it properly. And this is your karma bhumi. Karma bhumi means you have to do your karma here. He said, but what karma can we do in here? Nothing is available. There's no water here. So Balaram, he said, don't worry, Balaram is with us. And we know how powerful Balaram is. He took his hoe out, and the moment he touched the ground, it became green. And the whole land became so beautiful. And then he says, now you can set your kingdom here. That's why Indraprastha was that land originally. And then it became Indraprastha. Indraprastha means as good as Indraloka, heavenly. And Arjuna had already done a favor to Maya Dana. He had protected one demon known as Maya Dana. He said, let me do some service for you. He said, build a palace here, which is unrivaled in the creation. So he built a palace, which the demigods came to see. And we all know the incident that Duryodhana came once and he's seeing grass, but it was not grass, it was water. And where there was water, there was grass. He fell inside. And he was shocked to see the beautiful kingdom, the new beautiful kingdom of Yudhishthira. And because he's wicked and jealous in the mind, generally people who are envious, when they see good in others, they feel very bad. You must be having this experience, even in the material world. We find such people, when something happens good to you, they feel very bad. There's an example to teach you. Once there was a person who was a very nice person, and he would worship the Lord daily. So he found that he was a very poor man, but in a very short time, he became well off. So his neighbor became very jealous. So he went to worship Lord Shiva. And he told Lord Shiva that, how come he's become so good in a very short time? Also give me some benediction. So Lord Shiva said, I'll give you benediction. What do you want? He says, whatever he asks, I should get double of it. For example, if he asks for 1,000 shillings, I should naturally get 2,000 shillings. That is the meaning. And everything double. In this way, the neighbor became very happy. So other day, the neighbor bought a car and he saw 2 cars in his compound. He was very happy. Oh, he got 1 car, I got 2 cars. And then as his family increased, his family became double. Now one day it so happened that that person became sick and he became double sick. So again he came to Lord Shiva. He said, now why you made me double sick? He says, that's what you asked for. Whatever you get to him, you give me double. So because he's sick, you are double sick. He said, no, I don't want a benediction like this. So this is the position of envious people. Sri Prabhupada says, in this material world, practically everyone is envious. Other than devotees who are well-wishers, all people are envious. They're never happy seeing you good things. People become envious even of devotees. Prabhupada says, there are people who are envious of even of sadhus. They don't like sadhus. Those who are dedicated their lives 100% to sadhus, they still have envy towards them. This is called material world. So if you want to get rid of all these things, you have to keep Krishna with you, always. And Krishna gives you protection. In the Chaitanya Chapter says that my devotee, even if someone tries to curse him, it can't work. It will go reverse to him. This is how Krishna protects us. If someone tries to harm my devotee, he will get harmed. The very famous story of Amrish Maharaj and what was the name? Durvasha, yeah? Durvasha tried to harm Amrish, but the chakra, instead of going to Amrish, it came towards him and it wanted to destroy him. This is the proof for the evidence from the Bhagavatam how the devotees are protected at every step, at every danger. So this is nothing amazing or wonderful that why Uttara came to Krishna and asked for protection. And Krishna is very happy to serve his devotees, very, very happy. If your devotee is in trouble and he wants Krishna to serve, Krishna will help happily serve. There are many instances in the scriptures and many real incidents in this, related to this particular statement. How Krishna did so many services. Like you see the cover of Bhagavad Gita, you find Krishna writing the chariot of Arjuna out of love. Imagine he's the Lord of the universe, Jagannath. Jagannath means the Lord of the universe. He is meant to sit behind, and a Sarathi is meant to be Arjuna. It went the other way around. Because of the love for the Pandavas. Because of the love of the Pandavas, he gave his own sister to Arjuna, Subhadra. It is he who picked all the dirty plates, the leftovers, the remnants, during the Rajyuga of the Brahmanas. And he's the Lord of the universe. He's the one who protected Draupadi. He's the one who protected Prahlad. He's the one who protected Gajendra. He's the one who protected Dhruva. And recently, he protected all the 6 Goswamis, especially Raghunath Das Goswami. So much protection. So as we hear, we develop love, but don't take this as an imagination or a myth. Unfortunately, in India, many people call Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas to be myths. They are not myths. Prabhupada explains in one lecture. These are real incidents, some from this planet, some from other planets. But these are things which have happened. And in each case, Krishna always protected his devotees. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Are there any questions or comments? Prabhuji, as people are thinking about questions or comments, maybe I can start with some questions. Prabhuji, why did Ashwatthama, he was already been forgiven or insulted or something, but still, why did he wanted to kill Uttara's womb? He wanted to get rid of the Pandavas, but then they forgave him.
Even after forgiving him, even after letting him go, the hatred did not go. Due to that hatred and envy, again he prepared another Brahmastra and released it and aimed it towards Uttara. That means, in the Chanakya Pandit says that in Sanskrit we call Khal. Khal means an evil person. You evil person, whatever you do, you will always remain evil. Chanakya Pandit says, if one has to see who is more evil, a snake or a man, he says snake can be trained by mantras, but a man will, even if he's evil, even mantras will not work on him because the heart is dirty. The heart is full of evil. And that was the heart of Ashwatthama. Only thinking evil of the Pandavas. Imagine a baby, unborn baby, he wants to destroy that baby, the fetus. He tried. Without Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj had not left. He would have not lived. That's why it's called Vishnu Rata. And he saw Krishna in the womb. And throughout the life, he was looking for Krishna. And that's why his name is Parikshit. Parikshit means he was examining where is that person whom I saw, who guarded me, who protected me, who gave me life. So whole of his life he was looking for Krishna. That is why the name is Parikshit. Just like in Hindi, when someone goes for exam, we tell him going for Pariksha. Pariksha means exam. And because he is examining everywhere, where is Krishna? That's why his name is Parikshit. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much. And Prabhuji, it is amazing, like Uttara knew that Arjuna, her father-in-law, could stop Ashwatthama's Brahmastra because he did it once before. But instead of going to the father-in-law, she went to Lord Krishna. Pahi Pahi.
Yes. Because she knows, after all, the protector of all protectors is Krishna. And without the will of Krishna, nothing is going to happen. Even when Brahmastra was used first time by Arjuna, he still had to ask permission from Krishna. When Krishna says, go ahead, then Arjuna is. This is called obeying Krishna. Sometimes we want to do something good, and our heart is out to do something good. But do we remember Krishna when we are doing good? In most cases, we don't. So even when you do good, you should pray down, folded hands. I want to do this service for your pleasure. If you do it, that is called devotional service. Otherwise, it's called a good deed. You see the difference? In any deed where there is Krishna inside, that becomes devotional service. It can be anything.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Are there any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thanru Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Just a follow-up question on Kirtika's Mataji's question. Actually, Ashwatthama already knows that Duryodhana is not happy with those sleeping kids, right? So why again on Parishit Maharaj? That is my first question. But of course, you said that his hatredness is not that much vanished away, right? But last time he killed the sleeping children because to satisfy Duryodhana, but that itself is out of the way. So again, why he had to do a sin, though he knows that it's definitely a one. And I have another question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, what is the other question, Mataji?
Yeah, the other question is, so is it that if Ashwatthama has attacked Uttara through Brahmastra, after getting punished from Arjuna, then this is evident. Isn't this evident that we have to listen to Krishna's words? Like Bhagavan said to Arjuna that kill him. But because of Draupadi and all conversation, it happened. They were so merciful, they didn't kill him. And now Uttara's pregnancy is in danger, right? So they should have listened to Bhagavan. So is that my understanding correct? Hare Krishna.
Okay, going back to your first question. The first question is, why did he attack again? Okay, now going to Mahabharata. When Duryodhana was dying, you should know that his pran would only live if he becomes happy, extremely happy, and extremely sad, then Duryodhana will die. Otherwise, he'll just be in agony, lying straight on the ground, and no one was there. So at that time, Ashwatthama appeared. And in order to please his master, Duryodhana, he says, what do you want me to do? He says, on my side, everyone is going, even I'm going to go very soon. But the Pandavas are still alive. Go and get me the head of the Pandavas. So the instruction from Duryodhana was to get the head of the Pandavas. Now, when he entered the camp, he mistook the sons to be the Pandavas and he killed them. And he brought the heads. When he brought the heads to Duryodhana, Duryodhana is not foolish. He said, let me see them. When he saw them, he says, what have you done? Even Duryodhana was not happy. What have you done? These were the only people who are going to survive. Because he knew they on the side of the Kauravas, everyone is dead. The side of the Pandavas, the children were still there. Why did you do this? So he became morose. At the same time, he became so morose that his prana left. He died. So it's not that he pleased Duryodhana. He actually displeased Duryodhana. And when you say, why release the Brahmastra? Because a person who is evil is always evil. I'll give you one simple story to explain. There was a very nice Brahmana, and he used to feed, a serpent, with milk. And serpent was good. Now one day it so happened that even the neighbor said, why are you feeding milk to this serpent? One day he will bite you. But he won't listen. He says, no, I'm doing good to him. He will also do good to me. In this way, months went by. Now one day flood came, and the whole village had to be abandoned, including this Brahmin and including this snake. So all of them went, and again they came back when the flood was over. Now when they came back, when the snake was there, away from the new place, they wanted to kill the snake. So at that time, when the Brahmin told him, don't kill this snake. Now when they returned back after the flood, it so happened that things started becoming normal. Now one day, it so happened that somebody was trying to kill him, but the snake was thinking it is the Brahmin who is trying to kill him. So instead of giving any protection to the Brahmin, he bit the Brahmin to death. This is the nature of an evil snake. Even after being so good, he killed his own master. In a similar way, Ashwatthama is nothing better than a python, we can say. So even being good to him did not help him. He again came and released the Brahmastra to kill the fetus, the child, or the remaining lineage of the Pandavas. The only sign of the Pandavas he wanted to destroy. That is the evil of what we call Ashwatthama. Is that clear, Mataji? Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Okay. You see, to make an evil person into a good person is not easy. Let me give you one simple logic. You'll find that as you progress in devotional service, there are two sides. There's a lust, there's love. Even you try your best, the lust will not leave you. But you have to fight till the love is established. Now, once the love is established, lust becomes weak. But what happens is, due to the weakness in our Krishna consciousness, we still want to enjoy the lust. In a similar way, lust is evil. It has to go. You can't have lust in your heart and love of Krishna. Two cannot exist. You have to choose. So evil has to be removed, driven away completely so it doesn't come. And even if it comes closer, we have the weapon. The weapon is chanting Hare Krishna, hearing or reading Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, remembering Krishna. And the lust will go away. When this question was asked by Arjuna, how to get rid of lust, Krishna gave a very simple answer. From the very beginning, curb your senses. Now, how do we curb your senses? There's no other way to curb senses other than engaging them in the service of Krishna. Bhakti yoga means engaging the loving service of Krishna with our purified senses. That is called bhakti. So there is no other way to conquer lust other than engaging in devotional service. This is a logical way of understanding. Is it okay, Mataji? Read the last section of the third chapter. The last 8 verses of the third chapter, you'll get all the answers to your question. Or Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you very much for those questions. Are there any other questions or comments?
And on my second question, Prabhu, is it evident that they didn't go by Krishna's words?
What?
Prabhuji, there was a second question that they should have listened to Krishna in the first instance.
Oh, yes. Sorry, I forgot that. Okay. You'll find that in the previous chapter, I think the last few verses, we have discussed that Krishna tells Arjuna, you have to please Draupadi, you have to please Bhima. So make a decision. You kill him and yet you don't kill him. Being the son of a Brahmin, don't kill him. But if he's an aggressor, kill him. You remember that verse? So in that verse, Arjuna is very wise. Krishna is actually testing Arjuna, how he's going to execute the order. So it's not that he had to kill him. At the same time, spare him, because it will not please, if he had killed him, it will not please Draupadi. Even Yudhishthira, both have been unpleased. And if he was what do you call? He was killed and to please Krishna and Bhima. But Krishna gave a very tricky question. He put him in a very tricky situation. So Arjuna removed his money. Money means, there was an ornament on his head, and shaved his head off, shaved the shikha off, and he was driven out of the camp. So he was as good as a dead person, but not knowing that evil is still there in his heart. The evil still remained. We find not just Ashwatthama. Imagine Jayadratha. They are in the forest, the Pandavas, and he tries to kidnap Draupadi. There's nothing better than Ashwatthama. He was also evil. And he was also killed. If Krishna was not there, he would have not been killed. With the help of Krishna, Arjuna killed Jayadratha. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. That's it. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Let me ask you one question. How the dealing of Krishna, he used to kill demons. Does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kill demons? What does he do?
He was merciful to them too.
He removes the demonic mentality by giving the holy name of Krishna.
He asked the devotees or the demons to chant Hare Krishna.
Yes. He wants everyone to chant Hare Krishna so that all our demonic side will go away. Because within our heart, we are both. We have the divine nature and we have the demonic nature. So you have to remove the demonic nature and replace it by Krishna consciousness. In this way, we become devotees. So you have to take the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we devotees not to engage in some incidents. Sometimes even it can go to the maximum. We have to try to be very careful. We try to kill the demonic mentalities of people and instead give them Krishna consciousness. And we have many examples in our school that the people who joined originally, they're not very good people, but they became very good people. Hare Krishna. I hope that is satisfying. It's okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Wonderfully said. Thank you so much for your clarification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. And Prabhu, probably taking away the money and doing his shikha out and banishing him away from the kingdom made him more angry, and the hatred grew, probably.
Yeah, because he was evil by heart.
And then he was insulted.
His venom increased, his poison increased, it went up. Till Krishna cursed him after that, that you will not die.
So after
the curse, after that. Yeah. He says, even after sparing you, why you have to do it again? That's why you got a curse. So for the rest of the life, even when you want to die, you will not die. You go to any hospital, you ask, many people are dying. You want to die? He says, I wish I can die now, but I can't die. But death will only come when Krishna arranges, not otherwise. It's not in our hands. There are people who can lie in the hospital for years for no reason. I have seen one man in a coma for 5 years here in Nairobi. I visited him twice. He's just sleeping, eyes are open. He's breathing. He urinates, he does everything, but he won't die. In 5 years, billions of shillings were spent. All the wealth of the family probably went away. It's not that you die, you want to die and you can die. It's not in your hands. It's in the hands of Krishna. He's the one who gives the life. He's the one who takes your life away. So one should not fool around with one's life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, then what about the people who commit suicide?
They'll have to take birth. They'll have to take 7 births, Prabhupada says in the lecture. And each birth, again and again, they'll commit a suicide.
Aye.
That means one suicide you do, you'll have to do 6 more suicides. 6 more. You go through such a dangerous life, an unhappy life, miserable life, that even in the second life you commit suicide, 3rd, 4th, 5, 6 makes it 7 altogether. This Srila Prabhupada explained.
But Prabhuji, sometimes anybody who tries, they don't die, they survive. Something happens that the person survives. So it is Krishna's wish that even trying to commit suicide, that Atma wants to leave the body.
Fall of the building, they don't die. There is a case in which a person tried to kill himself 6 times. Each time he would land up, someone either rescuing him or ending up with a broken, he didn't die. So it's not, you're right, it can happen like that. But forcibly committing a suicide is not good. Because you are not the giver of life, Krishna is the giver of life. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'll hand over to Parth Prabhuji, who will end the session. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Such a nice and wonderful class. Also, answered the many questions of the doubts. So there is no question or no comment about Rukma Prabhu's class. I just request all the devotees, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for glorification of His grace, Rukma Prabhuji. Please join. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His grace Rukma Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.